the historic Hollywood Theater in Northeast Portland. Built in 1926, the first movie played here, obviously with no sound. More pay, less work. There was an 8-piece orchestra that accompanied that movie and also an organist. Thanks for being with us on Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Ken Ackerman. Well, 44,000 calls come in each year to the Attorney General's Consumer Hotline. What are the latest scams? Please welcome Keith Dubanevich, who is with the Attorney General's office, and I'm going to get this right. It's the Chief of Staff and Special Counsel.
That's correct.
Talking about scams, are people catching on, or really there's a new scam that seems to claim lots of money and put lots of people in the poorhouse each year?
There's a new scam every day, and it's just like the old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Unfortunately, there's a sucker born every day as well, and we continue to get complaints about everything from Ducks football tickets to somebody who is having their house taken away from them because they're fearful of a foreclosure problem.
And are these still aimed at the elderly, a lot of them? I know when you talk about Ducks football tickets, I know who that is geared toward, but the elderly seem to be in the forefront of these scams.
Indeed, in part because they're most likely home during the day when people can knock on the door and they're willing to answer the door. Unfortunately, they're more willing to trust someone than someone who may be your or my age or younger. They answer the phone, and they often have an old-fashioned telephone line as opposed to a cell phone, and they're easier to get a hold of. So they often are a victim more often than young people are.
So make your plea right here to someone sitting at home who's maybe watching this. If it sounds too good to be true, I mean, how do you hammer that home?
Well, we have an outreach coordinator who actually goes around the state and tries to help educate people. And one of the key things that we've done recently is we have a scam alert hotline so that people can actually sign up to be notified of what the most recent scams are. Community outreach, talking to your neighbors, you know, before you make any kind of big purchase or give somebody a credit card, talk to your neighbor, talk to your relative, and ask them, do you think you should spend that kind of money?
You get 44,000 calls each year. What are the top consumer complaints?
Most of the complaints are in areas where consumers spend a lot of money, and the most common is in the telecommunications area. You know, people have problems with their cell phones and billing and things of that sort, and we have a large number of complaints in that area. The second would be international money scams. You know, the reality is that each of us who have an internet email address have gotten at some point in time an email that says, we've won something, or if you would just give me your bank account information, I'm willing to wire money to you. And unfortunately, Oregonians, just like everybody else across the country, they fall victim to that, and they give bank account information, and quicker than you and I can say good morning, their money disappears out of their bank account. So those are the two biggest areas.
Mm-hmm. The Attorney General's, Kroger.
Correct.
He replaced Hardy Myers, and there has been quite a bit of difference in the way the Attorney General's office is working. Tell us the major differences.
Well, Attorney General Kroger came to the office with a background as a federal prosecutor, and he recognized that there were a lot of crimes that were not prosecuted very toughly here in the state of Oregon. And so he's beefed up the criminal justice division of the Department of Justice, and we've gone after, for example, people that peddle in childhood porn on the internet. We've closed down a couple of meth labs and some drug running schemes. We've beefed up the prosecutors in our group to include somebody that's focusing on mortgage fraud, and we also have a domestic violence prosecutor. So the division itself is really quite larger than it was when the Attorney General took office about 2 years ago.
Well, thank you very much. And there's that consumer hotline. Is that the 877 number?
That's correct.
So let's give it. It's 877-877-9392.
Correct.
All right, we'll have that for you also on our website. Keith Dubanevich, thank you very much for being here and telling us what's going on. And thank you for being here as well, joining us at the Hollywood Theater in Northeast Portland. For the crew here, I'm Ken Ackerman. Make it a great day.